What's up, party people, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is all about eye makeup brushes. So this is the ultimate guide to eye makeup brushes, whether you're a beginner or if you're just someone that wants to completely revamp and reset your collection and you just want to start from scratch. But yeah, these are the ones that I use regularly, religiously, and a lot of these are ones I've had for years and years, even to the point of they're discontinued. But I didn't want to exclude any brushes even if they were discontinued, just because I still use them and I'm a firm believer in using what you have even if it's not brand spanking new and fresh. Yeah, I've organized my brushes into 5 different categories. So we have blending crease brushes, and then inner corner slash eyelid shade slash brow bone brush, because I feel like you can use the same brush for all those things. That's why I put them all in the same thing. And then lower lash brush, eyeliner, and then eye primer brush. Now, eye primer brushes are 100% not necessary, not essential, but that's what I use. So this video is about my favorites. So we're gonna be starting with blending slash crease brushes. The first brush I have is from Morphe, and this is the M573 Pointed Deluxe Blender. So this is $7, and I'm pretty sure this is one that they do sell at Ulta, because I'm pretty sure I got this one from Ulta. Now, if you have hooded eyes or if you have small eyes and you really want to define your crease and to kind of give the illusion of a less hooded eye, pointed brushes are usually the best way to go. So this one is rounded for the most part, but it does have a slight tip to it, like just a very slight tip. But I love natural bristle brushes, especially for the crease. I just feel like it blends it out so softly and naturally, and it just eliminates lines and harshness and choppiness. Usually I like to use this for the transition shade, so that very highest, lightest color, but you could also use it for deepening up the outer V, deepening up the socket of the crease. Like, you could use this for so many different things. This is the Cara Beauty K17 large blending brush. So this is $4.99 on the iCade House website. This one definitely is bigger than the first brush, that M573, so just kind of give you an idea. It's just a tad bit bigger. But yeah, this one is more of a round dome shape. It doesn't have any kind of point to it or anything. But I really like this brush, especially for the size of it, when it comes to applying the highest, lightest transition shade. So I don't really like it for deepening up my outer V or even going like in the lower portion of the crease. Like, I like to use this for that very top, highest transition shade. But again, it does a really good job at softening and diffusing the lines and just eliminating any kind of harshness and choppiness. And that's pretty much what all these brushes do. So it's gonna get a little redundant. So the next brush I have is the Morphe M504 brush. This is called the large pointed blender. It's $8, and I think this is one that you can also get from Ulta, because this is a newer brush to me and I haven't ordered from Morphe brush online in a really long time. But as you can see, this is definitely more of a rounded, super fluffy brush. This is a lot larger than those other two, and it's a lot less dense. It's more sprawled out. So just keep in mind that the denser the brush, the more packed on it's going to be, like the more pigment you're going to get. And whenever you have a fluffier brush that's a little bit more loosely packed, then it's going to diffuse out color and be really good for like a wash of color, or if you want it to be a little bit more softened and diffused. So I've really been enjoying this one, again, for my transition shade and for my crease in general. And I really like it when it comes to applying color really fast. Like, if I just want a wash of color in the crease, if I'm just going out, I just want to throw my bronzer on in the crease or whatever the case may be, it's really fast. It just fades everything really, really well. So the next brush I have is the Morphe M514 Detail Round Blender. This is $7, and I do think this is another one you can find in stores at Ulta. So this is definitely a lot smaller than those other ones. So let's just kind of compare this one with the M573, which is the one that I like to use for my transition shade. But as you can see, it's a lot smaller. So I like to use this for placing color in the socket of my crease, because whenever it comes to like my transition shade, I don't want it to be, what's the word? Like, I don't want it to be too concentrated in one area. I want it to be more diffused and blown out. So I like to use this brush for placement. Like, it's really good for precise placement. And where I do have more hooded eyes, I can just put it right there in the crease and just follow the socket, and it does work for me. But you could definitely use this for your crease if you have really small monolid, like super hooded eyes, because a lot of times, like if you do have a smaller eye, you don't want a super fluffy brush because you want precision in your placement. So a brush like this would come in handy for that purpose. So the next brush I have is one that I've been in love with for so many years. This is one that I actually have duplicates of. I have 2 of these. This is the Coastal Scents Pro Blending Fluff Brush. This is $5 right now. This is the new one, and it looks a little bit different. Like, I even question if this is from the same place, and it definitely is. So it definitely does have a little bit of a different shape to it, but I feel like it does do the exact same thing. But this is one of those brushes that you can use for multiple purposes. You can use it for your crease. If you don't want a super blown out look, you can use it for your outer V, which is what I use it for. You can use it for deepening up the socket of the crease, like what I just said that I use the Morphe M514 for. But yeah, I just feel like it blends out products so well and so easily and fast. Alrighty, so that is it for blending fluffy brushes. So now let's move on to inner corner, eyelid, brow bone brushes. So I pull 3, and the one that is my absolute favorite is discontinued, and I'm so sad about it. And I went through my order history and everything on Morphe, and I bought this in 2015. This was part of their gunmetal collection that they had a couple of years ago, and this is the G13. So you may be able to find it on eBay or I don't know, Mercari or somewhere, but this is my favorite brush for packing on anything onto the eyelid. Like, just the overall foundation of this brush is really unique in that it kind of gives you the best of both worlds. Like, it's flat where it's going to pack on your eyelid shade if you want it to be really intense and pigmented, but it also has a little bit of fluffiness to it to where it's going to help blend it out and not make it look too harsh. And that especially comes in handy when it comes to blending your eyelid shimmer into a matte crease. And I did look on the Crown website to see if they had anything similar to this, because like I said, usually Morphe and Crown have like the same collections and the same type of brushes, but I can't find anything similar to it. So I'm gonna dig really hard and trying to find a dupe for this, because this is seriously like my favorite brush. And the next one I have is another one from that iconic London brush set for $55. This is just, I don't know what it's called because I accidentally X'd off of the page, but this is just a round dome-shaped bullet brush. So there's really nothing unique about it. There are tons of round dome-shaped bullet brushes, but it's really soft, so I feel like it just really packs it on nicely, and it just, I don't know, like it doesn't make it look choppy or chunky. And then the last brush I have for this category is what I use for my brow bone highlight. I don't really use anything else. So this is the Carity Cosmetics E27 Angled Shader. So this is $4, and I love this type of brush for my brow bone because number one, it's angled and it comes at a peak. Because what I like to do is apply my matte brow bone highlight color and just kind of like diffuse it into my crease shade. And I find that where it's a peak, like you can turn it different ways and get different effects with it. All right, so next category is lower lash brushes. I feel like you need a good 2 lower lash brushes for 2 different purposes. I feel like you need one that's more tightly packed and dense for placement, and then one that's a little bit more full and fluffy for smoking it out. But if you use something that's too fluffy and too full, like if you were to use like one of these crease brushes that's really fluffy for your lower lash line, you're not gonna get precision with it, and it's just gonna smoke it out a whole lot, and you're gonna lose a lot of that pigmentation. These are both from Morphe, so I have the M506 and the M507. So as you can see, there is very little difference in these. These look the exact same, and really the only difference that I see is that the M507 is more of a pointy, like tapered brush, whereas the M506 is more rounded. But I love these brushes for smoking out and softening the lower lash line. Again, they're not gonna be the best for placement. If you just wanted to choose one that would be better for placement and also blending, I would say the M507 because of that taper and because of that point that it comes to, because it will be a little bit better for actually pushing it towards the base of the lashes and giving you a little bit of definition, like more definition than the rounder M506 brush. And then the next brush I have is the Morphe E36 Detail Crease Brush. This is $6. Again, I'm pretty sure you can find it in stores at Ulta. But this is one that's really good for placement. So this is what I like to do to pack color on, like right at the lash line, right at the base. So what I like to do is first go into either the M506 or the M507 and kind of start the lower lash shadow process. So I'll just kind of diffuse out the lightest color, and then as I go darker, I go more dense and tightly packed with my brush. So the E36 comes in handy for like placement, like right at the lash line where it is so small. It is more of a round shape, and it just gives you that really nice like darker definition at the base, and like to keep it really high and tight. And then the last lower lash brush that I have is the Morphe M508. So this is called a smudger brush. It's $5. Again, I'm pretty sure you can find it at Ulta, but between this one and the E36, they pretty much do the same thing, like, or I use them for the same purpose. So it's not gonna be good for blending. Once again, it's just good for placement. So it's just really tight and round, and it's gonna give you a lot of precision. If you just wanna choose 2 lower lash brushes, I would choose one of these, like either the M506 or the M507, and then one of these tighter, smaller kind of brushes to really get it close. All right, so now let's talk about eyeliner brush, and I actually have a lash comb in here too. Let's go ahead and talk about the lash comb. It's not necessarily eyeliner, but I don't know, I'm throwing it in that category. So this is the Morphe M221 brush. So this is basically just a metal lash comb brush. A lot of brands have this type of thing where it basically is just good for removing clumps in your lashes. So yeah, it's like $4 on the Morphe website, but you can find these anywhere. So the next brush I have is an angled eyeliner brush. This is the ColourPop angled eye brush. It's $6, and this is Probably, like if I had to get rid of all my other eyeliner brushes, I would say this is the one I would keep because it's not only good for drawing on the top lash line, but it's also really good for a wing. It's just so nice and thin, and it comes to a really high point. There's a lot of eyeliner brushes I have that don't really come to like a high peak. Like they're just, I don't know, they're angled, but they're just not as angled as this. It really doesn't work for you. And then the next eyeliner brush I have is one that is discontinued, but I do have another dupe alternative to it that I also use interchangeably. So this is the Morphe M559. I don't know why they got rid of this, stupid reason. This is basically just a square topped, really thin eyeliner type brush. A lot of times I use eyeshadow in place of liner, so I'll use something like this to smudge it out to where it's not too, like, it just, I don't know, it's got a little bit of fluff to it to where it does kind of smudge and smoke as it goes. Like it does blend a little bit as well as placement. Another alternative to this one, since this one is discontinued, is the Delium Tools 761 Tight Liner Brush. So this is $8, and I feel like Delium Tools used to be a little bit more expensive. I feel like they kind of dropped their prices a little bit, maybe to be more competitive with everybody else, but this is the exact same concept as this Morphe brush. Now I will say this one is a little bit more tight and it's not as fluffy. Whenever I use this for my top lash line, whether it be using it with like a stick liner or gel liner or even like eyeshadow, it is so easy to use, and it's also really good for a wing. This like straight, like square top brush is so good for just like following your top lash line and going out, and where it's so tiny and precise, it does it so nice. Like it's such a pretty brush. And then the next one I have is something that I've purchased multiple of. This is the Morphe M432. I don't even have it up, but yeah, this is the Morphe M432 flat definer brush. It's only a few dollars, and this is, I think this is the older one, and then I have the newer one in here as well, but the new one is more long, and the weight of these, like the older one just feels so much more heavy and just higher quality. My favorite purpose for this is to pack on a really dark eyeshadow onto my top lash line as eyeliner. It just stamps it on so well to where you're not gonna lose a lot of intensity and pigmentation. Definitely an essential for me. Even though I don't like the newer one as much, I still use it for the same purpose. Whew, I'm getting kind of oily, getting kind of greasy, a little hot. So if you're wondering what's going on, I've been here for a while. So the next brush I have in the eyeliner slash definer type category is this BH Cosmetics Soft Liner Fan Brush number 9. This is $4 right now, normally $6, but this is the one that has, like, it's kind of more angled. Like there's the other one that I have that's the number 8, which is the same size all the way across, but this one comes to a peak. And this is another one that I like to use for eyeshadow as liner. I don't really like to use it for like gel liner or for smudging out like a stick liner or anything. And this one's really good if you like to flick it out a little bit, because it does have that peak, it does have that slight angle to it. Alrighty, so we are moving on to our last category, which is the one that is not necessary whatsoever. This is the eye primer blending out category. So the first one I have is the Delium Tools 938 Blending Concealer Brush. So this is $11, so a little bit pricier. You could definitely use this for like cream contour on your nose. You could use it for concealer under your eyes. You could use it for a lot of different things. Concealer on the rest of your face, like for blemishes and stuff. But it blends out eye primer really well. I'm not talking about blending out eye primers that are translucent. I'm talking about the ones that have pigment to them that actually conceal. So the next one I have is from Real Techniques. This is called the Deluxe Crease Brush. So this comes in the eye shade and blend set. But yeah, again, eye primer, concealer under your eyes, blemish concealer, contouring on your nose, stuff like that. Not necessary, but I use them. That is it for the ultimate guide to eye makeup brushes. These are my favorites, but I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and took something from it. Hopefully you learned, and hopefully you learned not just about specific brushes, but also the purposes of each brush. So even if you don't want to get the ones that I talked about, you can take this information and buy something similar to it. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next one. Mwah.